Bang, welcome to podcast.
How's it going?
Bang it podcast.
Bang, welcome back to the podcast.
Bang,
It's
it
the
podcast.
You were really quiet then.
Yeah, the soul has sucked out of me.
I can tell the fact that the jumper is on your head and not anywhere else.
The wheel's gonna fall.
Wheel is gonna fall.
No, because I've got it.
You're-
I'm waiting for Finn to spin it.
Oh, I'm spinning it.
Yeah.
Yay, we're gonna go cut right to the chase.
Okay.
Yeah!
Thanks for hitting
That was
me
pathetic.
in the
Spin it
face.
again. Spin it again.
No, don't.
Bang!
Break my face.
So you gotta get a proper spin for it to count. TV shows.
Hello, hello,
TV
TV
shows.
shows. Now that is vague. That is vague, but that gives us a lot to talk about.
It's gonna fall that way.
So
Keep doing that.
let's go in the past 6 months.
Wait, so what we've been watching in the past?
Your favorite TV show that you've seen, new or not, like if you've rewatched something in the past 6 months.
6 months.
I've been watching Peaky Blinders. You been watching that?
I've
I've
not.
not been watching Peaky
Tell
Blinders.
us about Peaky Blinders.
Oh, it's about these gangsters, these peakies,
So,
and well, because I didn't used to watch it, because like my parents would not have been happy with me watching it when I was younger.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Woo!
Um,
thought.
Who'd have
So
thunk
yeah,
it?
I've literally just been watching 5 series of that with my dad, and did that last month. It's a pretty big highlight, you know.
Is it good?
Yeah, no, it's actually really good. Recommend it, like greatly.
What is good about it?
It's quite gritty.
Oh yeah,
It's
you like the
interesting.
grit.
I
What's
like
the
the
title?
grit, and it's just well put together. You can tell it's heading towards something. Like every series, there is a reason for the series, and
Right.
like I think every episode as well.
So there's like no
felt-
filler.
No,
really?
there's
Okay.
none of that bollocks. Stranger Things sort of.
I haven't watched Stranger Things, so
Don't.
I wouldn't know.
No, I haven't.
What's the point? It's just not
Like,
worth
I've
it.
heard it's good. Just
Yeah, I'm
No.
I'm already so far behind. I don't know if I can be asked. Like
Yeah.
The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones.
Well, I mean, The Walking Dead, they've just screwed themselves because they had the perfect time to stop,
and they haven't.
and they didn't. Yeah.
No.
Are they still going? Is it still?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. And
And Rick's gone, and he was like the main guy to follow.
I guess we should have put in a spoiler warning. Actually, yeah, let's get that out of the way now.
Yeah.
We are going.
we are going anything that we talk about.
Yes, if we'll mention the title before we talk about it. So if you haven't seen it yet, then don't watch. Actually, or do watch
Or
and
skip.
or skip. Yeah.
Skip through.
Or just deal with the fact we're going to spoil things for you.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to say that, but
I didn't know. Just said.
But yeah, okay. So that's The Walking
Okay.
Dead gone already. I guess.
I mean, I think with The Walking Dead, if they haven't finished it yet, maybe they're gonna try and get it to a point where it's got so crap as it's still going that no one's gonna care that it has ended.
Yeah.
which is
So-
bad.
I'm
so-
fairly sure.
Well, no,
that's
but
what it's gonna
I
do.
bet that if they're gonna keep going, then people will sort of be like glad it's gone, rather than if they stopped at a point where it was still enjoyable, they would have been like, why didn't they keep going? If they run it into the ground,
No,
people might think.
when it comes to TV shows, you need to find a fine line between a satisfying ending and but an ending that still makes you miss the show. Like because there are things like shows that have done that before, but like you just need to like really get that fine line. I was like, I don't know, I've heard Game of Thrones ending wasn't really that good.
No, I heard a lot of people wanted to make a petition to redo it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
But
although I don't know exactly why it's bad.
No.
I
Like,
think they rushed it. Apparently.
James, do you watch Game of Thrones?
he does not watch Game of
Just not
Thrones.
watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I need to watch it because I've got like some cousins in it.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, the extras. Like,
Oh.
Oh.
Well, that's still
Yeah.
cool. Either way.
cheers for that, Brandon.
Everyone gets
You
to be, not everyone
supportive
gets to be
guy.
a star.
Yeah.
It was joke. It was joke.
It was funny joke.
It
Not
was
funny, didn't laugh.
It was funny. It was very
Not funny, didn't laugh.
Very funny.
Oh,
Very funny.
Rada, rada, rada.
Yeah,
what
fine.
about you two though? Like Finn, what's your like favorite one?
Past 6 months.
Past
Yeah.
6 months. Because I think you guys both know I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't.
No.
I'm
No,
a.
you're a YouTube
I'm
guy.
an
So
I'm
are
an anime dude. I'm
Anime,
like
yeah.
I watch really more like anime and I was about to choose a naughty word.
Well, then
but-
tell us one about.
Anime.
your
Oh
animes.
boy, I'm gonna get some. Alright, about to go weeb mode. What anime have I watched recently? Actually, I've been watching a show that isn't an anime technically because it's not
It's
because it's made in America and it's 3D animated. It's made by Rooster Teeth,
3D
if you've heard of them.
3D.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a show called Ruby, and basically what Ruby's about, it's about sort of this altered version of Earth called Remnant, where basically there are these creatures called the creatures of Grimm, which are like these sort of dark and evil creatures which are attracted to pain and sort of depression and things like that. They sort of, and so to fight
So they're
it,
coming for the podcast, yeah?
yeah, they come
They're
very
coming.
much close.
Oh
But,
no.
basically, to fight these creatures, there are these schools to basically train hunters and huntresses, and that's sort of, and the show follows like a team of these huntresses called Team Ruby, made up of Ruby Rose, Waishni, Blake Belladonna, and Yang Xiaolong. And basically, it is basically just about their time at this academy called Beacon, which is kind of funny actually. But yeah, it's like it was like okay. So first, because basically they separate their seasons into volumes. They're called volumes, like volume 1, 2, and they have 6 volumes so far. And you can basically watch all the first 5 volumes on YouTube
Oh.
until they moved it to their website, and then you can watch volume 6 on their website. The only problem with that is that they throw in up to 3 ads at a time.
Oh.
I know Rooster Teeth really like their money because they get you to
Love
buy Rooster
ads.
Teeth first, which is how you not get ads. But I'm not doing that because screw you, Rooster Teeth. You can also see their love for wanting you to give them money because at most the end of most Ruby episode is like buy a shirt.
Buy a shirt.
You know, he's like, because there's this whole joke about like John Rooster Teeth, or like that's what they call him. He's like the guy who basically like made Rooster Teeth. He's like, oh, buy a shirt. Hey, watch all our other shows, please. But yeah. So yeah, it's all about so the main draw of Ruby is first it's got like 3D animation, and it's sort of focused on these like fight scenes, because honestly the animation for volumes 1, 2, and 3 are really shaky, especially volume 1. Like if I were to show you examples of volume 1 compared to volume 6, like it's just really bad. Like until volume 2, all the background characters were black, literally shaded, like they were full black silhouettes.
Oh, so
Until they weren't just all black people.
Not
That's why it
Africa.
was bad. No.
They were all African Americans. They were all literally black silhouettes
Yo.
until they actually gave them all models in the second volume.
Right.
So yeah, they like each character has basically their combination sort of weapon. So like Ruby, she has a scythe, which is also a sniper rifle. Weiss, she has a rapier kind of sword, which she can imbue with this thing called dust, which exists in this universe, where dust is basically this elemental sort of substance that you can mine, and basically you can use it to make fire or ice and water. Basically, it's like, yeah, basically elemental dust. And she can put that into her sword. Blake, she uses like a sword, which is also a pistol, which has a little rope on the end of it she can swing about. And Yang, she has gauntlets, which are also shotguns. And each character, they have this thing called a semblance, which is basically a kind of a superpower in a way. Like everyone has it, but only certain people can awaken it because you have to like train to do it. So like Ruby's one is speed, where she have short bursts of time. She can transform into this sort of flurry of rose petals and sort of go around quicker. Weiss can create things out of ice. Blake can do like clones of herself, and Yang, it's like basically the angrier she gets, the stronger she gets. And the show's pretty good. Most of all, the voice acting is probably the most solid thing that they have. But Ruby has a lot of problems. Like Can you not? For sake. Anyway, so yeah, it has a lot of problems in the fact that, like, like they introduce a lot of ideas and then don't develop them at all. Like they're like, hey, this is a thing, and then they just kind of forget about it. Like there's this whole plot line where, like in the first few volumes, the sort of main villain Roman Torchwick, who was the best character by the way, he was stealing dust basically from all around the kingdom, and after that they kind of forget the fact they have it.
Oh.
It's like yeah, it's like I think like the other what became the main villain, Cinder, sort of said, "Oh, we we're not going to be stealing dust anymore." But then they don't use the dust for anything. It's really really weird. And another thing they do is just sort of there's so many throwaway side characters.
Right, yeah.
There's so many characters. Like literally, there's all these other teams. You really only focus on two of them, which is Team Ruby with the main characters, and Team Juniper, which is the other sort of set of side characters. A lot of them are kind of forgotten about. Like literally, after Volume 3, you don't see a lot of the characters for ages. Literally, one of the teams you basically never see again, and it isn't confirmed that they died or whatever. You just don't see them. They have a book like that you have to read to find out what they did after Volume 3, but like. It's because, like, because we put in the spoiler warning, someone else says.
Buy our book.
Buy our book. He's literally like. But after Volume 3, basically Beacon Falls, like the Academy, basically it's overrun with Grimm, and basically essentially the Academy falls, basically separating most of the characters, and they all just sort of go off on their own ways. But then in this act of like all these characters separating, you don't see a lot of people again. Like they show these characters, give them personalities and everything like that, then just kind of don't focus on them. Like there's a certain character, there's this character called Neptune, where basically his best friend's son, who is this sort of, I should also explain that in this world there are these things called faunuses, which are basically human-animal hybrids, which the humans are racist against.
Sounds like humans.
Essentially. But yeah, he's like, okay, so Sun is a monkey faunus, and he has a tail. But that's about it.
He has a big dick.
There's a I don't know. You can search up art and maybe they you can go on DeviantArt.
Fan fiction.
You can go on DeviantArt, they'll tell you. But yeah, so basically he goes on with Blake when she separates from everyone. You never see his friend Neptune until Volume 6, where he shows up once, hits on a lesbian girl, and then you never see him again.
Probably because he got beaten up by the lesbian girl.
That's the way to go.
No, because you literally
Yes.
No, because you see him talking to Sun after he hits on a lesbian girl, and then you don't really see him again because they're like, oh yeah, we have too many characters. Let's like kind of break them up a bit so we can actually focus on the main ones. But yeah, it has a lot of issues, but it's overall a good show. Objectively, people say it's not that good, but I can still really enjoy it. Because it's really funny, and they do genuinely put a lot of effort into like the animation, the story, and everything. And you can tell everything they do, they are trying. And people say part of the reason why Ruby kind of got worse after the third volume is because the main creator, Monty died. So they sort of had to create the rest of it in what they think he would have wanted, rather than... Because he planned some of it, but not a lot. And... What are you laughing about? Oh. I'm ranting. But yeah, so yeah, you okay?
I'm really ill.
I know you are, but can you survive the rest of this?
It is on.
But yeah, so it's good. It is good. I would recommend watching it, just to sort of try it out for yourself. Like, I know it's not really for everyone in some cases, and the humor is a bit hit or miss depending on what you actually like in humor. But it is a good show. But I think if I were to name another problem, it'd be this character Ozpin, where basically he's meant to be all
He's already got a stupid name. I don't like him.
It's kind of like a lot of the characters are based on fairy tales. So Ozpin, Wizard of Oz. That's meant to be his sort of archetype. And
It's his problem. He's not actually magical.
no, his problem is that he lies a lot. is that he lies to
I mean,
people.
that kind of
They kind of, which ties
fits.
into the character, yeah. So yeah, basically, like they try and portray Ozpin as this morally grey character. Like I obviously to quote another video about Ruby, they want to say that he's morally grey as his hair, but he like but in for most of the show he doesn't do anything actually evil. Like one of the plot points which are trying to make Ozpin look bad is they made this guy like one of the guys who works for him, Crow, who's the second best character by the way. He gave him the ability to turn into a crow.
Fitting.
Yes.
But it's like, okay, downside? It's like, oh no, I can do it whenever I want. I can't turn into a bird. It's like, no, this is purely beneficial. And it's like, no, you don't understand. I can turn into a bird. It's like, yeah, but why is that bad? There is nothing bad about the fact that you can turn into a bird, but they say, "Oh no, Ozpin's evil. You turn people into birds, and they can do it whenever they want." He gave them.
So it's not like involuntary turning into.
No, he
You
can
just-
turn into it whenever he wants. He gave him a superpower, essentially.
and he's bad.
I'm not kicking it. I'm just like prodding it with my foot because I have nowhere to put my feet. I have long legs. Yeah, and it's sort of like, but I guess there's something they do afterwards where, like he like what? Nice. There's something they do afterwards where they try and they're like where it's like, oh, Ozpin, he lied about being able to defeat the main like bad person Salem. It's like, oh, she can't really be killed because she's immortal. And then like all the characters like mope and dope at him. And it's like, where you lied to us, blah blah blah. I should also mention he's also in the conscience of someone else at the moment. Like he dies in the third volume, and then but he's been cursed to forever reincarnate, but not in the way you'd think. Like his soul just transfers to another person.
Oh, that's cheating.
It is cheating, but he basically is like in the back of this kid Oscar's mind. Yeah. I've been ranting. It's really hard to explain Ruby because like it's so many things to explain, but that's also part of its problem. Like it gives so many ideas, so many different plot points that you kind of can't really talk about it without literally saying the entire show at once. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. Brandon.
Brandon.
My turn.
Your turn.
Right. Well,
Please keep it short.
Robbie was just there the whole time, like
Ruby.
yes.
I am following.
I wasn't following a lot of anything either.
I've been watching quite a few TV shows because I'm a TV guy.
You are.
I'm a TV and film guy.
TV man.
That's my thing.
Am I split between dimensions?
I've been watching quite a few comedy shows. So I think I definitely rewatched Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
You rewatched Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
In the last.
I
6
haven't
months.
watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I watched 19 episodes, and that's it.
Keep watching it.
Do you not like it?
No, I like it. I can't be bothered though.
Be bothered. Honestly,
It is really.
No, because I also got to watch Dark Crystal.
No, watch this instead.
Use whose?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
We can talk into it like this.
Hey.
Hey.
No, I don't like being this close.
Okay.
Silent for it.
You don't
Yeah.
have to be silent if you don't want to be
he
silent.
doesn't want to be that close to you, Brandon. He doesn't want to do that. It's like weird microphone play.
See, because he didn't have a microphone, you didn't hear that he said that he wanted to go home.
And that was very funny. Yeah.
Well, so I've rewatched Brooklyn Nine-Nine in that 6 months. I've also, in the past 2 days, I watched all of the IT Crowd, which makes me seem like I have a lot of time on my hands, but I don't. The new series of Taskmaster started how many weeks ago? Okay, about 5 weeks ago. No, not 5. Yeah, maybe 5.
Is that Marvel Taskmaster?
No. Presented by Greg Davis.
I mean, you were watching it whenever we were at NCS. So
Did it start then? Or was that an old series?
I don't know.
That might have
But
been the end of the last series.
okay.
My microphone doesn't like me. I'm going to need yours back. Cheers.
Just any microphone.
I'm going to need somebody's microphone, please. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
It's if anyone hasn't seen it, I would highly recommend it because it is very very funny. They get a lot of good comedians on it. Have you seen it?
Taskmaster.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's like a group of 5 comedians, and he just gets them to do weird things, and they get points. Like on the first season, there was Josh Widdicombe. Do you know him? Curly hair, annoying voice.
I might. Yeah.
Yep.
Was he on Strictly? Was he the one that went on Strictly? Or was that another guy?
That might have been another guy.
I don't know. It was just a comedian with curly hair.
Put up his picture, James. Yes.
Can you
Not related to Anne Widdicombe.
Can you please not? I don't think I appreciate this microphone. The whole point of taking a microphone away from me is so that you can stop talking because I've taken up a good 20 minutes of the episode.
He looks like that.
Oh, him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Him. He was on the first series, so was Ramesh.
I'm being very careful not to talk very loud, but oh, okay.
Ramesh was on it. Frank Skinner. You know Frank Skinner?
I hear his name on the radio a lot.
He presents Room 101.
Yeah, and I think I know him.
Can I have my...
In theory, yes. In theory.
Does this work now? Is it working? Is it working?
Seems to.
Okay, cool.
Hello.
So was Roisin Connerty. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't know her.
No.
And Tim Key, who you would know. But James Acaster's been on it.
Nice, that's good.
And this season has David Baddiel, Ed Gamble, Joe Brand, Katie Wicks, and Rose Matafeo. But yeah, no, it's very funny, and I would recommend that you catch it however you can. It's on Dave, 9:00 Wednesdays. I know. I've got it on Series Link. It's fine.
I can't be asked.
Or get it on UK TV Play. It's got every single series around. Also, A League of Their Own. I love that.
I like League of Their Own. Like, I don't actively try to watch it, but if it's on, I will sit down and watch it because it's funny.
It's very good. Their road trips are good.
Although I think I just find it funny just to search up like the funny moments on YouTube.
Oh right, yeah.
Just ignore all like the actual show bits.
Although there is no actual show bits because it's all just like they go along like they are sort of like
Yeah, they
a
ask
side
like
quiz question.
yeah. There's like quiz questions every now and then,
Yeah,
but it's just
everything
like
else is just sort of a bit.
it's like It's like, well, they don't really matter. It's really just we need a reason to put a bunch of comedians and a few athletes in like a situation.
Yeah. I can see Taskmaster.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm trying to play it.
Oh, he's trying to play it.
He's trying to play it.
But you, in your about 10-minute explanation of Ruby,
Yep.
you mentioned Grimm's a few times.
Oh, here we go. Joking.
Oh,
Go,
so you're
go.
talking about
I have been watching Grimm. Well, I finished watching Grimm. I really enjoyed that.
I've heard about it. I've had mixed opinions about it. Like I've sort of said that someone like they enjoyed like the stories in it, but like they didn't really like the characters and things like that.
I can see where they're coming from. At some points, like in the series, you'd be like, she is an absolute bitch.
Yeah, you can get a lot of people like that in
Yeah,
shows.
but like consistently.
Yeah, a lot of people like that in shows. Depends on whether a character's meant to be a bitch. Because if that's the case, then they're doing their job very very
No,
well.
I think they're meant to be. However, she stopped being a bitch too quickly.
Oh, like her redemption is too quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a bit annoying. I think from what I've heard about people talking about Grimm on YouTube is that people say that it's not a good show. Like the way that it's like the actual effects are not good, and sometimes the stories can be a bit out there. But it is one of those shows that if you somehow, for some reason, get a connection, it really resonates with you.
Is it like so Grimm? Is it like meant to be based on Grimm fairy tales?
Yes.
Okay.
That's their whole thing.
Yeah,
The whole
that's
thing. So every episode begins with a quote from one of their books.
oh
So it
okay.
could be taken out of context in whatever way, and they'll just adapt the whole episode around that.
Around that single line.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually quite cool.
And it will basically revolve around humans live alongside Vessen, who are humans that can change their form, like you were talking about.
Like the faunuses.
Yes.
Yeah, except they can't
So
change
they
their form.
can't change fully. It's just like their face, and they get extra powers or so. It's not always animals. It's like
That's like similar to the faunus as well. Like, because some of them like they do kind of get like extra powers from it. Obviously, being able to move a tail and sharper claws and things like that.
yeah. So that will happen, and they change when they feel overriding emotions. Oh,
Oh, with
Just-
the TV down there.
I just heard Taskmaster. Anyway,
that was Taskmaster.
there are these special people called Grimms, and they can see Vessen when they don't want to be seen. So usually they can hide their form really well. They just look like humans. They act like humans.
But they can sort of see through their like disguises in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But the thing is, the main character, Nick, who is a Grimm, he just found it out in the first episode. Everyone is super afraid of him because yeah, but I'm reading. I can't multitask. Everyone's super afraid of him because in history, Grimms have a reputation of hunting Vessen down and cutting off their heads.
Unkind.
Yes. But Nick isn't like that. Because he just thinks... Because he's a cop as well.
Yeah.
So he just wants to find... It turns out that literally, since he realises that he's a Grimm, every crime he solves in the next 6 series are all committed by Vessen. But it's good because you build up like a knowledge base of like who each one of them, like each Vessen is.
Yeah.
How long's it been going on for?
It has finished now.
Oh.
No, but like
Like
the
how
series. When did it start?
It started in 2011. Each series has, I think, 22 episodes. Except the 6th season, what's it called? Grimm, 2 M's. Which only has 13 episodes. Which I have the last season, towards the end, felt really rushed. Because the ending that they came to seemed a bit like the writers didn't want it to conclude at that point. They clearly wanted it to go on for the 22 episodes. Yeah, 11, 17, that's what I said. But it was I really enjoyed it. I could binge it for a while.
Mm.
Like you get to like each character. There's a character called Hank. He's good. You like him, not because he's black, but because he's good. Wu. Oh, Wu's just like
Does he happen to be of Asian descent?
he does. Do you know what, Stephen? I tweeted it.
Wowza.
I tweeted it out. I said, whoever in the writing department for Grimm decided for Wu's first name to be Drew deserves a raise.
His name is Drew Wu.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
His name's Drew Wu.
Drew.
It's funny, but there are parts where like throughout. No.
He's not switched on again.
How long have I not been coming out?
You've been cutting off every sort of one. But
It's alright.
You've been hurt. You could understand you. This is going to be
Hopefully it'll just cut out the racism.
As well as mucus.
That too.
Yeah. So I would recommend Grimm. We don't have to keep to half an hour. Okay, that was
But
just,
we probably
that's just,
should.
Yeah, no, we should, but that's just a rough guideline. I mean,
It's like we're not going to go to 40 minutes. But we're just
No.
We can go like a few minutes out.
anywhere in between 30 and what?
Why am I looking at me? I'm looking at the screen. Why?
Good.
Nothing more to say.
Oh,
No, just
okay.
keep
Thanks,
saying
Robbie.
things.
It's okay.
Well,
I will
there
end
are
at
parts
the
like
half
throughout
hour.
the seasons, Nick's friends who aren't Grimms get told by Nick about Vesson, and then like almost everyone in his own little world figures stuff out. I really enjoyed it. I don't know about other people, like whether other people will, because I think it's very particular. Like every time I was watching it, my parents sort of like saw me watching it. They were like, "Not this shit again." And I'm like, "What? You're just salty that you missed out on the first 4 seasons. You can't just jump into it now." And they're like, "Yeah, but it doesn't matter." So
It's like whenever at any point my parents see me watching things like anime because they don't know what the bloody hell is going on. Like there's this animes where there's like giant naked dudes chasing people, giant naked dudes trying to eat people, and they're just like, what are you watching? I'm just like, art, mother.
art, mother. I think there are a lot of like good shows going about that I haven't seen. Have you seen Chernobyl?
No.
My parents binged it.
No, my parents watched it too.
Was it worth watching?
I don't know. I didn't ask them. But they said
Is it on Netflix or
I don't feel like
something?
no. It's
I
on
don't really
Now
feel like I
TV.
want to
Oh.
because I know enough. I had to know enough about bloody Chernobyl for my Cold War history, and I'm gonna have to know about it again for doing Cold War at A level.
Oh, you sucker! Maybe you shouldn't have chosen it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm just finding a reason not to watch Chernobyl.
And also, my parents just started watching Temple. Have you heard of that? It's the show with Merlin from Kingsman. And it's based on a true no, not based on a true. Is it based on a true story?
I don't know why else it may.
Okay.
Is this the one about like the private surgeon?
Yeah, the private surgeon that sets up his own surgery underneath the Temple tube station.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that show. I've seen a lot of adverts for it.
Yeah, my parents said that's good.
Thank you, Robert.
I mean,
Providing
Yeah.
me a microphone.
there are a lot of shows that probably should be watched, but I just can't be asked. You know, I've got a few things that I need to watch.
There are a lot of shows I can't be asked to watch.
on my Netflix wish list.
I get recommended things so many times. I'm just like, slow down. I have another 50. Once I'm done with that, I'm 100 years old. Then I'll watch it.
You need to watch Doctor Who.
No,
Yes.
it's too
Yes.
late.
It's
It's way too late.
it's not too late because they are binge worthy.
Watch basically the one before David Tennant and the one after David Tennant, and that's all you really need to watch.
No, Peter Capaldi was good.
Yes.
It was alright.
He was good.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best.
Well, no, I never
Those,
said that.
those three were brilliant, and that's why the ones after those three
I see.
seem so good.
No,
No, seem so bad. in
No,
comparison.
Capaldi is just as good as Eccleston. His stories aren't.
Okay,
but
we can
him-
agree on the writing. The writing was
The writing dropped off in the last series and a half, like of Capaldi. So the second half of his, actually no. The
No.
first half of his of the 9th season, and then his season with Bill, they were a bit iffy. Yeah, Billy.
They need to fix the writing in it. That's all I'm saying. Because
Yeah. Fix it.
I
now.
agree with the whole thing of it's about time we've had a woman be the Doctor, but they need to fix the writing because they are just sucking the soul out of it.
Yeah, we've just got a zoomed in picture of end soon.
Yeah.
So
So we'll end soon.
we're gonna do it. I'm gonna recommend Grimm, Taskmaster, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and A League of Their Own. You're gonna.
I guess I'll recommend Ruby. You can watch it on YouTube. Just search up Rooster Teeth Ruby.
You could, but don't.
I'm gonna recommend
Recommend.
I'm gonna recommend Peaky Blinders, Cuckoo, Man Like Mobeen, and basically go on BBC iPlayer. There is a bunch of really good stuff on it for TV series. Oh, and Fleabag. Fleabag's really good.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, no, it
Didn't like
is.
The Bodyguard as well.
I enjoyed Bodyguard. Anyway, we'll end this episode.
Yeah, see you later. Peace out, bitches.
I can't see that on. It's in the logo.
Oh, well,
Nice.
bitches.
Well, I had a cool pose anyway.
You gotta stop recording.